And lastly, we have Zhiwei, who is from Nova Southern University in Florida. And he will, as you know, China had a revolution in 1948, which affected the different pre-revolution dispute resolution system. So he will discuss how that was and how it was transformed by the Communist Revolution.
Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Zhiwei Wang, a Ph.D. student from the Conflict Resolution Program of NOAA Southeastern University. And first of all, thanks for the opportunity to allow me to do this presentation. And the topic of my presentation is China's distinctive mediation model. It's actually a short version of my papers. In my papers, I systematically discussed and analyzed how China's mediation systems has been developing. So there are a lot of contents in my paper, and I do not think I can cover every point of my papers in this presentation because of time issue, but I'm gonna try. Okay, oh, I never used that. How to use? All right. So let's just take a look at the structure of my presentation. I'm going to introduce the traditional Chinese mediation model in prior 1949 era first. Then I'm going to discuss and introduce 3 different time periods of Chinese mediation model development. Historically, mediation as a method for resolving conflict was very, very popular in China in the past. There are some reasons for that. First of all, China was an agricultural country for thousands of years. The agricultural lifestyle required people to live together, so they know each other pretty well, so they live in the same community. And they do really care about relationship. They want to maintain and keep good relationship. So when something bad happens, when they have a dispute, for example, against one another, they wouldn't bring it to court. They prefer to bring it to the community leader because they do not want to break the harmony of the community. The harmony of the community as a concept was the most important thing for Chinese people living in the same community. For another reason, China is very big. So the considerable territory of China made the central government feel very difficult to deliver their judicial power to every villager in China. So they can only have courts in big cities. So it's very costly for villagers who wanted to bring their disputes to courts. It was just too expensive, for them traveling. So these factors together made the community leaders and climate leaders very powerful and were able to make them able to capable of handling those disputes. These pictures on that slide give you an example, give you an idea of how Chinese meeting rooms look like in the past. This is where the community leaders have disputants, have both parties together, listening to our complaints, and help mediate it. The point is, in the past, in that era, mediators were community leaders and the climate leaders. They were very powerful. But in 1949, when Communist Party came to power, everything different, everything changed. the communist party's goal was to break down the old world and create a new world. So those community leaders and climate leaders quickly lost their power. They were replaced by party members, communist party members. Those, see, I give you an idea how they look like. Those party members were trained and were sent to almost every village in China. Actually, helping mediate and helping resolve disputes were only one of their jobs. Their main job was to educate people, educate Chinese people how to act and how to think as required by the ruling party. Very interesting, they offered the mediation service to public for free. Then we entered to the second period. It's called the regression period, mediation regression period. You know, in 1980s, the Chinese central government changed their idea. The whole Chinese society became less politicalized. China opened its huge market to the whole world. So more and more Chinese people started getting rich. In that situation, more and more people, they wouldn't bring their disputes to mediation session because they do not believe those mediators are capable of taking care of their case, because they think those mediators, they were less educated, they were no longer capable. So we need to, more and more Chinese people believe in their legal rights. They want to protect their property, and they think if something bad happened, we should find yourself a good lawyer, a judge, but not a mediator anymore. But it's mainly, I also discussed a couple of reasons for that. You know, more and more Chinese people, they move to big cities. They start looking for their new life in big cities, and so the traditional Chinese community has been broken, has been destroyed. And the younger generation, I mean, at that time, they did not trust the mediation process and believe their legal rights more. This is the point I have to mention. You know, since almost all mediators at that time did not have income from the mediation service, so some people think, oh, they will not do a good job. They wouldn't do a good job. So they less trusted by those educated Chinese citizens living in big cities. But in the rural villages, you know, some people still go to their community leaders, you know, to seek some kind of help. Then we entered the period of mediation revitalization. Beijing quickly came to realize the importance of mediation. They took a course of actions to try to make mediation popular again. For example, they gave legal status to agreements made in mediation session, and they started paying mediators salaries, and they grade mediators by collecting feedbacks. And they developed the new Chinese mediation system in big cities. It's called the court-based mediation system. So their strategies, I have to comment, are very effective and very useful. So in big cities, those court mediations take a lot of cases every day. But in the villages, it's still like that. You know, the community leaders they take care of a lot of disputes, so people wouldn't go to big cities to seek legal solutions. I mean, in the villages, in the remote villages in China. I show you the pictures, so you can see the huge difference between the Chinese cities and the Chinese villagers. Chinese villagers, a lot of Chinese villagers are still very poor. You can see, you can learn that from the pictures. But in the big cities, it's like a paradise. A lot of high buildings, skyscrapers, and so my conclusion is that there are two different separate systems, mediation systems, working together. One is the court-based mediation systems in big cities. So when people get their disputes against each other, they have to go to mediation room, the court-based mediation room. And but in the villages, China still use a relatively traditional mediation style, where communities leaders help mediate, and that's good. I mean, two systems co-working well, and I think that's a good lesson that we can learn. But I'm not saying Chinese mediation model, the current Chinese mediation model is perfect. Actually, there are a lot of challenges. I just point out one thing. Believe or not, nowadays, there is even no single university having mediation degree program in China. So if you want to make some money in China, come to China and teach mediation course. All right, so yeah, thank you. Comments, questions?